webinar. So far 107 participants joined. So I request all the participants please join in the time, because honorable chief guest and guest of honor and honorable vice chancellor sir already joined. So we will start this program in time. So I humbly request all the participants, already links have been sent to them. So please join. So the program will be started at 11 a.m. sharp. Thank you. सर मेरा वीडियो तो चल रहा है सर अभी इस समय।
नहीं, मुझे तो सब दिख रहा है। एनपी सिंह, AK सिंह, am I visible now? Okay, right.
myself, very good morning to all of you. Myself, K.S. Tomar, organizing secretary of this national workshop. वो बार बार डिस्कनेक्ट हो रहा है, मैं देख रहा हूँ. Very good morning. Sorry for technical interruption. I heartily welcome on behalf of the Banda University online Banda University of Agriculture Technology, Banda, Uttar Pradesh, as a president of this program, and Dr. K.V. Prasad sir, Honorable Director, ICR Indian Institute of Floriculture Research, Pune, Maharashtra, will be the guest of honor of this program. Sir already joined this program. Honorable Dr. T. Janki Ram sir, he is going to join very shortly, and all the senior most directors, Dr. N.K. Vajpayee sir, all the deans of the constituent colleges of the Banda University, Banda, Dr. G.S. Pawar sir, Dr. S.B. Dovedi sir, Dr. Vandana Kumari ji, and all the senior directors, Director DAM Investment Monitoring, Dr. B.K. Singh ji, Dr. S.K. Singh ji, and all the HODs of the departments, various departments of the Banda University, Banda, Uttar Pradesh. So I heartily welcome. This is a program. So we are going to organize 2 days, and we have different participants across the country. They have joined. So may I, on behalf of this organizing committee, may I request Honorable respected Dean Dr. S.B. Dovedi sir to present the welcome address virtually. Please, sir.
Good morning to all. Floriculture has emerged as a viable diversification option in the agribusiness. It is a rapidly expanding industry regarding a growth rate of more than 15% per annum in the last 2 decades. Rapid urbanization, increased income levels, and changes in social values resulted in increase of domestic market both for modern as well as traditional flowers significantly. Improvement in the general level of well-being in the country and increased affluence, particularly among the middle class, is also another reason for increase in the volume of the local flower market. Flowers are highly perishable, unlike other horticultural or agricultural crops. Owing to poor keeping quality, the post-harvest losses in floriculture are significantly higher than any other sector. Although there has been significant increase in the area, production and productivity of flower crops in the last 2 decades, there is an urgent need to minimize the huge post-harvest losses in terms of the value of the produce, which are estimated to be 30 to 40% of farm value. The post-harvest losses become important, especially when dealing with the export of fresh flowers to distant and foreign markets. Keeping all in view, we are organizing 2 days virtual workshop on post-harvest management and value addition of ornamentals. On this occasion, it is my proud privilege to welcome our chief guest, Dr. T. Janki Ram, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. YSR, Horticulture University, Andhra Pradesh, for giving his kind consent to grace the occasion. Our chief guest does not require an introduction as he is well recognized figure in this field. It is also my pleasure to welcome our guest of honor, Dr. K.V. Prasad, Director IIFR, Pune, for his gracious presence in the workshop. I also feel happy and proud to welcome our worthy Vice Chancellor and President of this program, Dr. Professor Narendra Pratap Singh Ji, for his gracious presence. I bid very warm welcome to all renowned speakers, Dr. Y.C. Gupta, Professor cum Advisor, College of Horticulture and Forestry, Dr. Y.S. Parmar, University of Horticulture and Forestry, Thunag, Mandi, Himachal Pradesh, Dr. Alan Mahavar, Professor, Active Floriculture, Department of Horticulture, MPUAT Udaipur, Dr. Alka Singh Ji, Professor and Head, Department of Floriculture and Landscape Architecture, Navsari Agriculture University, Navsari, Gujarat, Dr. D. Dhansekharan, Assistant Professor, Department of Horticulture, Annamalai University, Tamil Nadu, Dr. R.K. Srivastava, Senior Scientist and Head, Business Development Group, CSIR, CMAP, Lucknow, Dr. Bharti Kashyap, Associate Professor, Department of Floriculture and Landscape Architecture, Dr. Y.S. Parmar, University of Horticulture and Forestry, Solan, and Dr. Ritu Jain, Senior Scientist, Division of Floriculture and Landscaping, IRI, New Delhi, who took out their valuable time and joined us today to be a part of this workshop. We are honored to have you all with us. I also welcome Registrar Dr. S.K. Singh Ji, Director Extension Dr. N.K. Vajpayee, Director PME Cell Dr. A.K. Srivastava Ji, all deans of this university, head of departments, and other officials of this university. I would like to offer my regards to all the delegates and participants who joined us today to be part of this workshop. I guarantee that this workshop will be productive and worth your precious time. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Now I request Dr. Krishna Singh Tomar, Organizing Secretary, for his introductory remarks. Dr. Krishna Singh Tomar, please.
Thank you, sir. As we know, this floriculture is a fast-growing industry, and it deals with the cultivation of ornamental plants and a number of subsectors also, including these flowers, cut greens, and the foliage, specialty flowers, and pot plants, bedding plants, etc. And this floriculture sectors growing a very fast, and it is emerged as a sun-rising industry in across the world. And no doubt this sector is going to convert we say spinning industry, and this floriculture is growing at the rate of 6 to 10% per annum, and our country also ranks in 18th in floriculture trade. And but the production of flowers have increased significantly, and there is a huge demand for floriculture products in the world, and growing international flower trade, and the world consumption of cut flowers and plants is increasing, and there is a steady annual increase of 10 to 15%. But standardization of post-harvest technology is very much needed, because 20% we lost because of mishandling, and we don't have such type of this ultra modern facilities at the farmers field and this stakeholders level. So that's why this very much needed, this program was needed, and so we organized this program 2 days. And I thank you so much all the resource persons and the chief guest and guest of honors who accepted our request immediately over telephonic call, and they have consented their means consent to be means part of this webinar as a guest of honor and chief guest. So thank you so much So we have different discussions delivers 2 days. So 2 days we have divided in two parts in this webinar. First day in our inaugural sessions, our keynote speaker, a renowned person, Dr. K.V. Prasad sir. He is a director of this ICR Indian Institute of Floriculture Research, Pune. Sir doesn't need any introduction in the field of floriculture in the country. Sir will speak on floriculture industry overall, what is the status of the Indian floriculture industry in the nation. So we will be enlightened about listening him. And inaugural address, Dr. T. Janki Rao, he's also very known face, synonymous of this floriculture in the country. And sir is a very renowned leader. Now sir is gracing the post of the Vice Chancellor, Dr. YSR Horticulture University. Sir is going to join very soon as a chief guest. Sir will address as an inaugural address. And our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Narendra Pratap Singh Ji, sir is also very renowned leader in the pulses. Sir is a president of this program and will address us as a presidential address. And the technical session will be started in the second half. So we have invited some resource persons, Dr. Salni Jhanji. She will speak on post-harvest physiology of commercial flowers. She is associated with the Department of Floriculture Landscaping, PAU Ludhiana. So what is the post-harvest physiology? Because this is very much needed in the floriculture sector. And we don't know how to handle properly, and farmers don't know. So this deliberations will somewhere will strengthen us. And Dr. Pooja Sharma is Professor at Department of Floriculture Landscaping in the YS Parmar University of Horticulture and Forestry. Madam will speak the post-harvest handling of loose flowers. After harvesting of the loose flower, how to proper handle it. So, and the next lecture will be conducted on post-harvest handling of cut flowers and cut greens. And the speaker is Dr. Babita Singh, the scientist in the division of floriculture and landscaping, IRI, New Delhi. And the first day, last lecture, we invited a businessman, a person who is involved in the growing of these cut flowers. Mr. Tejas Patel is the managing director, Avenue 9 Agri Produce, Nasik, Maharashtra. So he is having more than 9 acres polyprotected cultivation of roses in Nasik. So he is handling selling these cut flowers every day. So day-to-day problems he is facing. So that's why I invited him, and so he will speak on packaging, storage, transportation, and marketing of commercial flowers. So the practical problem what farmers face. So I think he is sufficient for this. And the second day we converted this, devoted this day for value addition of ornamentals, because as we know, our total share, the 60% share export comes from the dry flowers and value addition. So it is a very much important sector. So that's why we combined this program, the post-harvest management and value addition of ornamentals. So the first half of this value addition, Dr. Ritu Jain is a well-known face in the value addition, senior scientist, division of floriculture landscaping, IRI, New Delhi. She will speak on prospects of value addition on ornamentals, because she established many NGOs also in Delhi and conducted many training programs. So detailed his biodata I will read, and then technical session will start. And its next lecture will be delivered by Dr. Bharti Kashyap. Madam is very famous in drying of ornamentals in the YS Parmar University of Horticulture and Forestry. She is associate professor. So drying and value addition of flowers and foliage, because she established also value addition lab in this floral craft lab in university. And the next lecture, Dr. R.K. Srivastav, senior scientist hand business development group, Central Institute of Medicinal Aromatic Plants, Lucknow. He will speak on flowers, aroma, technology, and business prospects, because many flowers, suppose is roses and jasmine and others, because we extract the essential oils, and the country is running a national aroma mission by under this SIR umbrella, and recently SIR floriculture mission also started. So he will speak about this. And the first technical session, the last lecture will be delivered by Dr. D. Dhanasekharan, Assistant Professor, Department of Horticulture, Annamalai University, Tamil Nadu. And he will speak on plant pigments, the origin of original colors, because the plant pigments is also very valuable value addition part of the ornamentals. and how natural pigments we can extract from the plants, and how can it will be marketed. So Dr. will speak on that. And the technical session second half, Dr. Alka Singh, Madam Professor and Head, Department of Floriculture and Landscaping, SP College of Horticulture and Forestry, Navsari Agricultural University. Madam will speak on floral arrangement and floral craft. Because we know her YouTube channels also है, उनको बहुत सारा मैडम ने किया है, because so flower arrangement and floral craft पेपर सारा होगा मैडम का. Then Dr. Ellen Mahavar, because this is a sector preparation of processed value added products of roses. During the corona time, we have witnessed and we have faced our director sir is already online, KV Prasad sir, Director of Floriculture Research also means release the advisory, because during this corona period how these flowers can be converted into value added products, because that was the sector means in the loss. So Dr. Mahavar sir is a professor in ICRP Floriculture, Department of Horticulture, Maharana Pratap University, Agriculture Technology, Udaipur, Rajasthan. Sir will speak on this how to means prepare the valued products of roses, and various organizations also and FPOs also registered under the patronage of Dr. Mahavar. And the last plenary session tomorrow will be conducted, and very renowned speaker on this Dr. Y.C. Gupta, former Dean and former Head, Department of Floriculture, former Dean, College of Horticulture, now Professor, College of Horticulture and Forestry, Dr. Y.S. Parmar, University of Horticulture and Forestry, Thunang, Mandi, Himachal Pradesh. So sir will be as a plenary speaker for this concluding means validity session, and he will also address to the participants about this value addition and post-harvest management thing. So these are the means overall means this introductory parts of this webinar. So I'm very much thankful to the all these resource persons who accepted our request, and as key resource persons. So thank you so much. And now I invite Dr. K.V. Prasad, Director, Indian Institute of Floriculture Research, Pune, Maharashtra, for addressing. So before addressing, it is my responsibility and moral duty to cite his profile in a brief, because it is a customary, though he doesn't need any introduction. As we know, Dr. K. Prasad completed his graduation and post-graduation from Andhra Pradesh Agriculture University and doctorate in horticulture from the Indian Agriculture Research Institute, New Delhi. Sir started his career in the Institute of Horticulture Research, Bangalore, and worked there for 6 years, and he moved to IRI as a senior scientist, principal scientist, and as the first professor of newly created discipline, Floriculture and Landscaping. And Sir got selected as the director of ICR, Directorate of Floriculture Research, Pune. Now it is Indian Institute of Floriculture Research, October 2015. Sir is instrumental in developing 7 chrysanthemum varieties, 6 rose varieties. Besides unique fragrant anthurium, while serving at IHR, he had developed dust methodology for rose and chrysanthemum for the first time in the country to offer plant breeding rights. Dr. Prasad developed technology for in vitro direct regeneration from ray flow rates of 18 novel mutants of chrysanthemum. Similarly, technology for high frequency induction of novel mutants is standardized successfully in annual chrysanthemum. A protocol for establishing the genetic relatedness among the radiation induced chrysanthemum and rose mutants and the parents is standardized using molecular markers. In the development of protocols for the induction of in vitro nutraceutical anthocyanate pigments from roses, chrysanthemum, and carotenoid pigments from calendula for the first time in the country as the chairman of MSc and PhD students. Sir had developed 3 new courses and was involved in the development of curriculum for 2 more courses. Sir had developed 2 driven e-manuals for breeding of ornamental plants and plant tissue culture. Dr. Prasad is actively involved in postgraduate teaching and guided 4 MSc and 7 PhD students. In order to have crop-specific focus, organized Year of Chrysanthemum during 2010, organized awareness program on protection of plant varieties and Farmers' Right Act and its implications to the farmers of NCR region. Dr. Prasad is actively involved in the preparation of EFC member of Directorate of Floriculture Research, Pune, and detailed project report for the establishment of IRI Jharkhand. Dr. Prasad contributed the member secretary of the subgroup on floriculture and medicinal aromatic crops for preparing 11th 5-year of the Government of India, and also as the member secretary of a task force on floriculture constituted by the Protection of Plant Varieties and Farmers' Right Authority of Government of India on finalization of national test guidelines for dust testing of roses and chrysanthemum. Sir is a Institute of Floriculture Research in the process of creating the required research, administrative and field infrastructure and its headquarters in Pune and a regional station at Kadiyam in Andhra Pradesh. Under his vibrant leadership, new initiatives in the area of nutraceuticals, essential oils, virus diagnostics, molecular characterization, gadgets and tools for floriculture crops, vertical farming, new potting media have been initiated at ICR, Directorate of Floriculture Research, Pune. Sir is a recipient of some of the prestigious awards like Dr. B.P. Pal Gold Medal for the year 2009 from IRI. He is also a recipient of Gold Medal in Floriculture from the Horticulture Society of India in 2012. And Dr. Prasad got 5 Best Research Papers Awards. He is a member of the editorial board of important publications. Dr. Prasad is a fellow of the Indian Academy of Horticultural Sciences, Indian Society of Ornamental Horticulture, and Confederation of Horticultural Associations of India for the outstanding contributions in the field of ornamental horticulture. So, sir, may I request you, thank you so much, sir, for joining. So now I request Dr. K. Prasad, sir, for enlightening us through this as a keynote speaker.
Thank you.
This on present status. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Tomar. Thank you for your kind words. Distinguished chief guest of today's national workshop, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Dr. YSR Horticulture University, Dr. T. Janakiram, President of today's workshop on post-harvest management and value addition in ornamental crops, Dr. N.P. Singh, the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Banda University of Agriculture and Technology, Banda, my colleague, Dr. K.S. Tomar, Dr. Divedi, Dean, Dr. A.K. Singh, the head of the Division of Floriculture and Landscaping Architecture at BAU, and all the participants, fellow speakers, students, my colleagues from the AACRP system, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, let me thank Dr. N.P. Singh, the Honorable Vice Chancellor, for giving me this opportunity to interact with you and share the knowledge on the topic that is assigned to me. Congratulations to you, sir, for taking the responsibility of the Vice Chancellorship of a very good, prestigious university. I could only talk to you over phone after your selection. Today, I'm seeing you personally, though virtually. So congratulations to you. Permit me to share my screen to make the presentation. Dr. Tomar, please enable the screen share. Yeah. The screen is visible. Dr. Tomar, the screen is visible.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay, thank you. So I'll be speaking about the status of floriculture industry in India. Indian floriculture is more or less getting aligned to what is happening in the global trade. Globally, the floriculture industry is part of a bigger sector called as the lifestyle horticulture, which comprises of cut flowers, cut greens, pot plants, arboriculture, tubgrass, essential oils, fillers, amenity horticulture, environmental horticulture, plug plants, and so many. All these sectors, subsectors, they comprise of lifestyle horticulture. And this business is very huge. It is considered to be around $300 billion worth of business. And cut flowers alone, one particular segment, subsegment of this lifestyle horticulture, contributes about $40 billion. And this entire trade happens mostly in the developed nations. And India is trying to pitch in its might as we go by. See, the production in floricultural crops happens mostly in the southern hemisphere, because the consumption centers are in the northern hemisphere, mostly in the Europe. We all know that the global auction centers are located mostly in the Europe, particularly Netherlands and other European nations which are adjoining Netherlands. And the major contributors are from the southern part of the hemisphere, be it Colombia and African nations, many of the African nations, then South Asian countries and India. We all contribute to the global trade in a fashion that the entire produce, most of the produce reaches the European markets, the auction houses, and from there, again, it gets redistributed across the world. If you look at the share of these international players, nearly 50% of the trade is controlled by Netherlands. So that was in 2005, and the share of Netherlands is slowly reducing with the participation of other nations, especially the African nations from Kenya, Ecuador, Ethiopia, and other nations. Kenya, Ecuador, Ethiopia, all these African nations, they also started floriculture more or less when India started. Somewhere in 1990, when India introduced the liberalized economic policies and also liberalized seed and planting material policies, which paved the way for the introduction of the commercial floriculture business into India. Now, these countries, they dominate, and then they contribute about, say, 20–30% of the global trade. 3 countries together, Ethiopia, Ecuador, and Kenya. India is trying to, is struggling to go anywhere between these figures. If you look at where we stand in terms of the floriculture trade, about 171 countries participate in floriculture trade. And India occupies somewhere in the 51st position, which is for a country like such a huge country like India, with so much of diverse agroclimatic conditions, and also the favorable conditions across the country to produce the flowers in one season or the other. Throughout the year, India can produce. But this particular advantage is not there in the European nations, because for about 6 to 8 months, those countries are snow-clad. They will not be able to produce anything in the open. Otherwise, India has that unique advantage of producing many of the flowers in the open cultivation as well as in protected cultivation. And this particular trade contributes about 575 crores in terms of exports, which is hardly 0.3 to 0.4%, which is minuscule for the scale of the geographic area that we have. But the growth rate is impressive, about 7 to 8% of the growth it attains per year, except for last 2 years where the sector was badly hit by the pandemic. And we considered this particular section as recession-proof before the pre-pandemic. Whether it is rain or shine, this particular sector used to grow, and it was considered almost recession-proof. We have seen the recession happening in many of the industries like automobiles, then electronics, white goods, so on and so forth, but not this sector. But this particular myth was busted by COVID. You must have witnessed the sad state of affairs of the COVID-induced distress, not only in India, but also the other factors. And new avenues are emerging as the novelty and then the market demands as are emerging. The new avenues in terms of introduction of new cultivars, new plant material, altogether some indigenous ornamentals, all these things are coming into the trade across the country. And if you look at the area, in terms of area, India is almost the second largest producer after China. But the amount of trade that it's contributed, as I mentioned, it is hardly 0.3% of the global trade. And the sector is mostly event driven, mostly in case of India, it is mostly festival and weddings. And nowadays, the other cultural invasions happening of, because of the European culture invasion, the demand is growing for specific events like they recently concluded Valentine's Day and so on and so forth, Father's Day, Mother's Day, Teacher's Day. The consumption is increasing during those particular events. Indian floriculture is unique. We use the flowers in a different manner when compared to the rest of the world. So we differ significantly from the rest of the world in the way that we use flowers, mostly for decoration purpose, for worship, garland making, and so on and so forth. So about 1/3 of 1.3 billion people, what we are, we use the flowers in this fashion. But if you look at the modern floriculture that is practiced across the world by about 7 billion people, is mostly in terms of cut flowers. So our tradition has made this particular uniqueness to India in terms of usage of flowers. Therefore, the introduction of these cut flowers and their usage started only after the advent of protected cultivation somewhere in 1990s. So if you look at the research and development initiatives in the government, the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare is the nodal agency for whatever the activities that take up in case of floriculture. Indian Council of Agriculture Research is mandated to do the research, teaching, and outreach in floriculture. And Department of Agriculture and Cooperation is into the outreach programs and program implementation of the Government of India in terms of many schemes. For instance, MIDH, National Horticulture Board, the National Bee Board, which is a national mission again, and NCPAH for application of plastics in agriculture. All these schemes of the Government of India, they support the development activities of floriculture sector. APIDA supports in terms of exports and then organizing international trade fairs and then developing a sector-specific good agricultural practices. And state governments, because the agriculture is a state subject, and then all the state agricultural universities, including the horticultural universities, they are into, again, like ICR, research, teaching, and then outreach programs. And state horticulture departments, they are involved in the outreach, that is taking forward the Government of India and also the state-specific programs for the promotion of floriculture sector. If you look at the research infrastructure for floriculture, Indian Council has about six deemed universities and central agriculture universities which are involved in teaching and research, postgraduate and doctoral research in floriculture. And there are 6 specific horticulture universities where the education and research happens in case of floriculture. And we have an all India coordinated research project on floriculture with 22 centers, which comprise of budgetary centers and 13 state agriculture universities, institutional centers in 4, and voluntary centers in 5. Institutional centers are mostly ICR institutions, state our sister institutions. So altogether, about 30 state agriculture universities are involved in teaching, research, and education of horticulture. And Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, CSR, has 3 important organizations where the research on floriculture happens. So this is the network of National Agriculture Research and Education System, which is contributing for the growth of floriculture sector. And these are the, if you analyze based on the work that is done so far, we are fairly advanced in some of the areas in terms of crop improvement, production, protection, post-harvest management, protected cultivation, seed and planting material, dry flower technology, and micropropagation. And fairly advanced, and then we have very good work still going on in terms of cut foliage, fillers, new flower crops, landscaping, turf grasses, specialty flowers, and so on and so forth, IPR in floriculture. These are And very limited work is happening in terms of biotechnology, varieties for export, management of nematodes, market intelligence, then programmed production of flowers, as in the case of what happens in Netherlands and other for most of the bulbous ornamentals like tulips and all, nanotechnology, flower labels, and then arboriculture. These are the areas which are where the focus is limited as of now, but we need to focus more on these areas so that we can align our technologies with the global happenings. In terms of crop improvement, we have made significant contributions in terms of the varieties. Roses, we are about in the National Agriculture Research System that I'm talking about. We have about 250 varieties, chrysanthemum about 150, gladiolus 80. And these are the dynamic figures. Every year, many universities are adding, some of the ICR institutions are also adding these. The number of varieties are increasing year after year. And if you look at the area and then production trends, the market and the dynamics of the floriculture industry, the sector is growing steadily from 70,000 hectares in 2002 to 3. We are now around 3 lakh hectares, producing about 23 million tons of, 23 lakh tons of the loose flowers, and also about 72 lakh tons of cut flowers over the years. Earlier, the cut flowers were denoted as the numbers, but from 2013-14, it is also converted into weight and then expressed in metric tons. So this was possible primarily because of the proactive policies of the government of India, and also the contributions, the research contributions that emanated from the National Agriculture Research and Education System that I have highlighted in my previous slides. And in terms of the floriculture crops contribution among the total horticulture, about 19,000 crores is the contribution that is coming from the floricultural crops. This is an estimated figure, and then this is increasing gradually, which is very, very encouraging from 174 in way back in 11-12, and in 15-16 it is about estimated to be 19,400 crores. That is the contribution of the floriculture sector, the domestic trade that is happening. Now it must be much more than that. Recent estimates they have suggested about 22,000 to 24,000 crores from the domestic market alone, when compared to the other agricultural and other horticultural crops. And in terms of percentage, about 1.5 to 1.6 is the percentage of overall agricultural crops. That is the contribution that is coming from floriculture. This is, of course, the figures are old, but it will indicate about the trends and also the approximate value of the percentage of contribution of the floriculture sector. The sector is very small. As I mentioned, we are hardly 3 lakh hectares, but we are contributing significantly for the trade in terms of 22 to 24,000 crores. And out of 33.3 thousand crores that is contributed by horticulture, the percentage of horticulture that is contributed by horticulture sector, it is about 1.6 to 2% as of now. And these are the major states which produce the maximum flowers in the country: Tamil Nadu, then Karnataka, and West Bengal. These are the 3 important states, and it is again dynamic every year. One of the states will lead, and the others will be in second or third position. But mostly there are about 10 important states where they contribute maximum, and rest of the states also they pitch in, but albeit for a small quantities. And if you look at the major markets in India, there are the major market is in Delhi, Calcutta, and Bangalore. These are the major centers where the maximum absorption of the market happens, because the major production centers are around these places. From there, they transport their produce to this. Noida is an emerging market because of the establishment of an auction center there. And rest of the centers like Varanasi is the major center for worship. and that is where the maximum consumption happens. Mumbai, Kadiyam is again a big hub in Andhra Pradesh, where both the nursery as well as the traditional floriculture strives. Pune is again one of the major markets in the western parts of India. This is how is the status of markets in India. This is a typical market for traditional loose flowers in Kadiyam. And the mode of transportation and packaging is very primitive. Whatever the means are available, they transport and market. And the situation is not so different in other parts of the country as well. This is the typical scene that you see in case of Pune. Here only in Jarbara, you can see some of the cages where they, in order to protect the flowers, they transport this in such kind of iron crates. And this is again, in case of Mumbai, a typical flower market. In case of Delhi, earlier it was in the Connaught Place, but it is shifted to Ghazipur Mandi, and the situation is different. And this is in case of Bangalore. This is how, I mean, what I wanted to project here is none of these markets, they have a dedicated infrastructure for the way in which the flowers need to be marketed. Across the country, this is the scene in case of Coimbatore. So wherever the flowers are marketed, they don't have any infrastructure per se to market them, to market a highly perishable produce, where the window that is available for us from harvest to consumption centers is hardly few hours. So in such a situation, we do not have any dedicated cold chain facilities, nor any cold reefer vans for transporting these flowers. Except for the exported commodities, we don't have such kind of infrastructure in any of these markets. As I mentioned, these are already have indicated, these are the major producers of loose flowers. And in terms of their share, this is the percentage share of these states. And India also exports, as I mentioned, we export about 575 crores of flowers. And USA, Netherlands, UK, Germany, and United Arab Emirates, these are the 5 major importing countries from, for the produce that is emanating from India. And the year after year, the figures are increasing. And last year, there was a dip because of the COVID situation. In spite of that, last year, 2021, we exported about 575 crores worth of produce. Though because of the lockdown that was imposed in March, April, the sales and then exports were very, very were drastically affected for the 2-3 months when the disruption was there in the air transport and other logistics. So this is the percentage of share of the major importers from India. United States is the major, about 24 to 25% of our exports happen to United States. So in different years, these are the situations of the percentage of share by these importing countries. This is for where we export the maximum amount of the individual flowers. These are some of the examples for individual crops where we export. Different crops have different destinations. This is roses, mostly United Nations, UK. And are my slides visible?
Visible.
It got stuck.
Yes, sir. Visible, sir.
Yeah, okay. So these are the major importing countries for some of the value-added products that we also export in terms of bouquets and other floral preparations. And if you look at the export basket of Indian floriculture, as rightly mentioned by Dr. Tomar, we export nearly 60% of our exportable commodities as dry flowers. About 300 to 320 crores is dry flowers, and rest of the amount, amount is from the fresh flowers and also the other material, planting material that we export. So this is the typical list of our floriculture exports from India. And in this, like in some of the products, which are not related to floriculture are also being captured. Chicory roots are being categorized under floriculture. And also some of the, as I mentioned, chicory plant is one thing, and also the mosses, lichens. These are also added into floriculture, this one, which we have brought to the notice of EPIDA to exclude such kind of material from the floriculture category, so that we get the actual picture. And other factors like the essential oils which come from flowers, they are excluded from the data that is captured by EPIDA. So there are many other things which we have already indicated to EPIDA to make the amendments. India also imports flowers from many years. So it is also growing year after year. 2010, 11, 12, it was about 68 crores. And now it stands at 13,000 crores, 136 crores. 136 crores is the amount of import that we 160, I'm sorry, at 2020 to 21, 160 crores is the total import that India has. Out of this, mostly we import bulbous ornamentals from Netherlands, and also the tropical orchids from South Asian countries. And this is the category of the important imports that we bring in to India. And in terms of when floriculture sector came into India in 1990, early 1990, there was a lot of export-oriented units that came into existence. Lot of FDA also flown into the country for this sector, but of late, the amount of FDA that is coming into floriculture has been very, very minuscule, hardly 4.42. Compared to other sectors of agriculture, hybrid seeds, and horticulture. And this is the data that is officially captured by various agencies that I have shared with you. But if you talk of overall status of floriculture, as I mentioned in my initial slides, Indian floriculture is also getting aligned with the global trends of lifestyle horticulture, in terms of producing loose flowers, cut flowers, pot plants, cut greens, dry flowers, florist trade, value-added products, and other sectors, which are making silent contribution to the complete trade of this, which is not captured. So if we capture all these things, the amount of trade that happens in India is much more larger. The 22 to 24,000 crores that I'm mentioning doesn't include all these segments. And also the 575 crores that I'm talking about in terms of exports also doesn't contain many of these sectors, which I'm going to highlight. The nursery plants, which happens throughout the country, is one silent contributor, and which the contribution is not being captured in the overall trade of India. So are the potted orchids, mostly from the northeastern states. It's a huge business that is happening silently, but that is not being captured. Bedding plants. Now, wherever you go to any of the corporates or the public gardens, they are full of beautiful ornamental landscape portions, where the huge amount of plant material is being consumed through the production of these bedding plants, which happens mostly in the nurseries, which are located in different parts of the country. Hanging baskets is one more sector. And topiary plants. In all the public gardens and other landscape plants, even the real estate projects, you will see so many topiary plants which will cost you a bomb, from thousands to a few lakhs. So this contribution is also very, very major contribution to the sector, but it is not represented in commercial terms across the country. Florist and floral trade, decorations and all. Nowadays, even if you purchase a car or a scooter, it is beautifully decorated by the designers. So the trade that is happening is silent. Nobody is capturing this. Landscaping. Again, a lot of material is being consumed, which is produced in the nurseries. And this is also a silent contributor. Plug plants, which are required for most of these landscaping purposes, is being produced by the nurseries. This is also not being captured in commercial terms. Flower seed production, which is to an extent it is captured by the APEDA in terms of export of the seeds that is happening in northern plains. High value potted plants what I have shown here is adeniums, which cost you a few thousand rupees. These are also traded by the nurseries, and also these are the silent contributions. This is what I indicated, floral decorations for various occasions and purposes. Turf grass, 90% or heart of a particular garden is from the lawn that we make. The contribution coming from the turf grass industry is also very, very significant, but it is nowhere captured. Dry flowers, of course, this, as I mentioned, this is nearly 60% of our trade. As a vast country with so much of agroclimatic diversity, we have a lot of scope for producing many of the traditional indigenous ornamentals, which are not very well captured or very well exploited in India in terms of the heliconias, various species of alpinia, then costus, then other ornamentals like ornamental gingers, ornamental banana, then ornamental pineapples, curcuma. So these are the ornamentals which we can exploit commercially in different parts of the country. They are available in different parts of the country, and those states or the universities located there, they must come forward to propagate this kind of unique material and try to bring as the product of our own to the Indian markets. So there are many examples which are where India has the strength in terms of producing them and then marketing them in the global trade. The slump in the floriculture industry in terms of exports is primarily because of, as I mentioned, out of 575 crores, the fresh flower trade is about 60 to 80 crores. And that is not increasing year after year. One of the primary reason is the problem of illegal propagation of the planting material. Therefore, the IPR regime that is in place in India as well as across the world, most of the breeders are not willing to share the new material. Because of that, the competitiveness of the Indian floriculture business has come down to such level. If we improve our reputation in terms of protecting the plant breeders' rights and all the IPR regulations of the major breeders from where we get the planting material, we'll be able to make our contribution in a significant manner in terms of exporting the latest varieties. Because of this rampant illegal propagation that happens in India, many of the breeders are not forthcoming in terms of sharing the latest varieties. So we do have the protection mechanism in India. The Protection of Plant Varieties and Farmers' Rights Authority in India is established in 2000. The act was enacted in 2001, and 2004 onwards the authority came into existence. And from then, about 152 crops are notified, and out of that 15 are ornamentals, and this list is expanding. Wherever we have the strengths in terms of internal variation and the number of varieties that we have in these ornamentals, the test guidelines are developed in different parts of the country by different ICR as well as state agricultural universities. So until unless we take this seriously and then educate our students and also our faculty about the ramifications of illegal propagation and then taking care of the IPR regimes that are in force in different parts of the country, our exports will continue to dwindle. So there are many good initiatives in different states where they have created a dedicated infrastructure for floriculture sector. This is International Flower Auction Center in Bangalore, where they have a miniature Alsamir Flower Auction Center, where the model is more or less it is like that, and it happens on the local factors, based on the local factors. It is it was established long back, and this particular model could not be replicated because of various reasons. The second one was established in Noida, and which is yet to make significant contributions as that of Bangalore. And some of the states have specific initiatives for the promotion of floriculture, like extending a different central sector and then state sector schemes for the promotion of floriculture. So these are the important areas which I wanted to highlight to all of you. And then thank you very much for this opportunity. And special thanks to the Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. N.P. Singh, for inviting me to this important national workshop. And this particular topic that is chosen is also very apt in the sense that value addition is going to be the major way forward for us in a situation which we have faced in the last 2 years. When the COVID pandemic struck us, floriculture was the one of the most badly affected sector, because the fruits and vegetables or other food products, they were finding their way to our dining tables, but not the flowers. So therefore, there was a distress not only in India, across the world. So value addition is going to be the major key. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for this wonderful lecture and this presentation. You have elaborated all the aspects of the floriculture. Definitely, this is a high time to see and the opportunities of the floriculture in the country. As we know, the flower, fruits and vegetable nourish the body, and the flower nourish the soul. So we need this holistic discussion about the floriculture. So I express my sincere gratitude to you to accept my request and give your valuable time. And the holistic this discussion about the floriculture production and marketing and the constraints, and wherever new initiatives have been taken by the concerned state governments, you have highlighted before us. So on behalf of the organizing committee, sir, I express my sincere gratitude to you, sir. So now I invite next speaker, Dr. T. Janki Ram, sir.
Sir, just 1 minute, sir. He is coming, sir. Just 1 minute, sir.
Okay. So before actually inviting, I would like to highlight about this sir's contribution in the floriculture sector. Sir Dr. T. Janki Ram is Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. YSR Horticulture University, Gudam, Andhra Pradesh. And it is my responsibility and moral duty to highlight the brief profile before the audience. Dr. T. Janki Ram, born on 30th August 1962, completed BSc Agriculture from Astwile, Andhra Pradesh Agriculture University, Hyderabad, and MSc PhD in Horticulture with specialization and Vegetable Science from Indian Agriculture Research Institute, New Delhi. He served Indian Institute of Horticulture Research, Bangalore, over 20 years and served as head division of Floriculture and Landscaping at IRI, New Delhi from 2009 to 2014. Sir, Dr. T. Janki Ram was actively involved in breeding flower crops and protected cultivation research in ICR Network Project and National Agriculture Technology Project. Dr. Janki Ram, accomplished plant breeder at IHR Bangalore. Dr. T. Janki Ram was responsible for the development and release of 6 China Aster varieties, 10 chrysanthemum, 10 gladiolus varieties, and 4 hybrids of tuberose, and 5 gladiolus varieties and 5 chrysanthemum varieties at IRI New Delhi. Dr. T. adoption of the above varieties, particularly in Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, and Uttar Pradesh. And some of the varieties were released at both state and central level. China varieties need special mention for their popularity in Andhra Pradesh with the support of the Netherlands assisted project APWEL. As a PG teacher, he taught courses in breeding flower crops in US Bangalore and IRI New Delhi. 8 MSc students IHR Bangalore at IRI. Sir was member academic council PG school IRI. He was also responsible for introducing new courses on specialty flowers and planting material production in ornamental crops. He received advanced training in molecular biology, protected cultivation, sponsored by Indian National Science Academy, German Scientific Foundation, a Center for International Cooperation Fellowship Program. His work in floriculture, he was awarded PNASF Gold Medal Award 2008, HSI Gold Medal 2009, ISOH Lotus Purskar 2010, Dr. B.H. Jain Award for Excellence 2013, Distinguished Scientist Award 2012, High Tech Horticultural Society Best Scientist Award, Young Farmer Association Punjab and Lifetime Achievement Award 2014 by High Tech Horticultural Society, Dr. Gautam Kallu Award for Excellence in Horticultural Science, Society for Horticultural Research and Development, and he's also his fellow for Indian Society of Horticulture New Delhi, ISVR fellow in the Society of Vegetable Research, ISOH Indian Society of Ornamental Horticulture, and Indian Society International Society for Noni Sciences, etc. And sir is responsible. Sir is widely traveled in India and visited Germany, Netherlands, China, Turkey, Israel, Malaysia, Thailand, Nepal, Bangladesh, Pakistan, etc. Sir is responsible for the establishment of exclusive laboratory on value addition of fundamentals at IRI and initiating turf research. So Dr. T. Jankiram has outstandingly contributed into horticulture research and development in his career, spanning 31 years with his distinguished academic record. So heartily welcome, sir. My pranam to you, sir. Sir, you are busy conducting an interview, as you told. So on behalf of the organizing committee, on behalf of the Banda University of Agriculture Technology, I heartily welcome you, sir. And I request you to enlighten us in this webinar. Please, sir. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tomarji. Good afternoon. Greetings from Dr. YSR Horticulture University. At the outset, I'm thankful to Dr. N.P. Singh Saab, the Honorable Vice Chancellor, BUAT Banda, for giving me this opportunity to be part of this 2 days virtual national workshop on post-harvest management and value addition of ornamentals, organized by the Department of Floriculture and Landscape Architecture, and Dr. K.B. Prasad, Director, ICR, Indian Institute of Floricultural Research, Pune, Dr. Krishna S. Tomarji, the Organizing Secretary, and Dr. Ajay Kumar Singh, and all my esteemed colleagues and participants. I think this is a very appropriate theme that has been selected for the training program when we are facing this pandemic COVID-19. And really, this assumes very important. And as we know, the floriculture sector is an emerging, sun-rising sector. And this industry deals with the cultivation of ornamental crops, and also it encompasses different sectors like loose flowers, cut foliage, specialty flowers, cut greens, the fillers, pot plants, bedding plants, landscape and interior scaping, and vertical gardening, dry flowers, lawns, arboriculture, essential oils, nutraceutical pigments, dyes, valuation, etc. So this shows the importance of this sector in our country. And of course, we are very well aware that the global floriculture business is growing almost at 6 to 10% per annum. And India ranks 18th in floriculture trade and has only 0.61% share in global floriculture trade. This is one thing we need to be taken a message that it needs and has scope for a lot of improvement of improving of this sector in our country, particularly in the area of exports. And it is very heartening when we say 40 years back, when still I remember the NHB records have shown that it was only 40,000 hectares of floriculture crops which are grown in our country. But today, if we see, almost it is grown in 3,39,000 hectares. That is, of course, now it will be more. This is, of course, 18-19 data. But when we see it was 2001 and 2, it was only 1,06,000 hectares only. And if you take the production of the flowers in India with an annual production, that is almost 19.91 lakh tons. And India total export of floriculture was 571.38. That is almost equals to 81.94 US dollar million in just during 18-19. So when we see this, there is a increased significantly, and there is a huge demand for the floriculture products in the world, resulting in growing international flower trade. And the world consumption of the cut flowers and plants is increasing. And as I told, there is an increasing demand at global level, that is 10 to 15% almost in all the importing countries. And the cut flowers are fresh flowers which are harvested in clusters. Spines are in singles along with their stem, and which assume a lot of importance in our day-to-day life. And particularly in our country, the flower crops like roses, chrysanthemums, orchids, anthuriums, tuberose, carnations, even the emerging crops like dahlias are grown for this cut flower production. And the flowers of some species and varieties, they remain fresh only for a few days or a day. For example, the most popular crops like Chrysandra and jasmine, which are grown widely in southern part of our country, have very short ways, like that is shelf life. So many farmers and gardeners grow cut flowers for export, then decoration, gardening, floral markets, and farm shares and domestic purposes, etc. The quality of the flower, it depends on the shelf life, and also the vase life and the longevity of the flowers. So they may be influenced by various factors like the genetic factors and the environmental factors, pre-harvest and post-harvest practices too. I think these are the areas where we have to work, identify the research gaps and work. And in India, it is estimated that there is a 20% loss of cut flowers during harvest. And handling and marketing. We all know that when we see in the flower markets, particularly in Delhi, where the largest flower market is available, and I think the way what we think the flowers to be handled, it is entirely a different process, and they are handled not in a proper care. So proper harvesting and care of flowers after harvest should be taken to maximize the longevity, then shelf life and high quality flowers, and which can be reduced by effective management and careful handling of cut flowers. Of course, a lot of research has been done on post-harvest technology, and we have many experiments conducted under All India Coordinated Improvement Project of Floriculture in various stations across the state, and many recommendations also have been made. And the standardization, particularly suitable for post-harvest technology, is very important, and particularly for the cut flowers improvement, which really enhance the export promotion of these flowers from our country. For the promotion of this, export products, I think we need to research more, and study must be directed towards the development of appropriate post-harvest technology. For example, even there are still today, there are no package of practices or standard procedures available for export of these potted plants. I think in this direction, we need to work. And of course, the cut flowers demand situation, there is a need to transport the flowers in long distances, and with good transporting facilities, and to utilize the packaging and also preservative chemicals. And this is very crucial to promote the prolonged supply of flowers. And the cut flowers longevity especially is influenced by several factors such as genetic makeup, as I mentioned, and the particularly ethylene and post-harvest handling, and so on. So there is a need for appropriate post-harvest handling technologies still to reduce these losses, so that the post-harvest management system in India will definitely enhance the production and the agro business of the processed products from the flowers for quick and better monitoring gains, and for the benefit of the farmers. And this will also boost in providing better nutrition, employment generation, and high earnings amongst the people. So the value addition in ornamentals is very important. As we know that normally we think that the export of fresh cut flowers are high, but we need to note that the dry flowers, almost more than 60% of the earnings are from dry flowers. This is one of the very important area that we have to look into this. As far as the livelihood, to promote the livelihood and also empower the women, particularly the employment generation, I think we need to promote this dry flower technology. And one of the best examples, Gulmeher, one of the establishments promoted by IR. And today, those women, they have really got very good, meaningful life, and also as many as more than 50 products are being exported, and there is a lot of demand for that. And I would like to mention the Honorable Vice Chancellor, that Dr. YSR Horticulture University is taking further steps to work on value addition of these ornamentals. Particularly, we are near to one of the nursery hubs, that is Kadiyam nurseries, which are near to that, and we are looking forward to promote the cut greens and also potted plants from this area. This is one of our researchable issue, and also one of the priority areas that the university is looking forward to work. And I am also very happy to mention that recently the university has signed MOU with Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanams, and this is a unique idea that the university has taken, that the worshipped flowers which are offered to the Lord Venkateshwara temple are being converted into value-added products. And this project is being funded by Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanams, and we have established a training center at HRS Tirupati. And today I can say proudly that as many as more than 300 women living in and so far have at least 60 women are making this product. Recently, as the sale of these products, and this is one of the best examples how this value addition can make the livelihood to many. I think the government also we need to make recommendations out of these 2 days. Okay.
Yes, sir, you are visible, sir.
So, sorry for that interruption. So, I think we need to make some recommendations of the out of this workshop, and I also request the organizers to come out with some recommendations which can be taken as a research for the students of PG programs. So, I think with this few words, I once again thank for giving me this opportunity. My best friend and mentor and senior, Dr. N.P. Singh Saab, the Vice Chancellor, for giving me this opportunity, and also my colleague Krishna Singh Tomarji, who is a young dynamic scientist, and my again esteemed colleague Dr. K.V. Prasad, Director, IAFR, and all my colleagues. Thank you very much once again. And sorry, in between, I got delayed because we are having the interviews going on. For that, please excuse. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for delivering this inaugural address before us, and your experience definitely means very meaningful for us. Sir, thank you so much, sir. You will sir, you spent valuable time despite your busy schedule, and you have addressed audience virtually. So, on behalf of the organizing committee, I am thankful to you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. This is a very important program. You are the president of Education Ornamentals, and you are known fans of value addition. Yes, developed established very important lab. I know since 2012 you visited the Pasighat campus when I was in Pasighat, and you experienced our work there. Thank you so much, sir. Now, in the next program, our honorable president of this program, Professor N.P. Singh, Honorable Vice Chancellor, this Banda University of Agriculture and Technology, Banda, Uttar Pradesh. Sir is the president of this 2 days webinar, his inaugural session. And Professor Dr. N.P. Singh ji is a known face in the breeding of pulses. Sir doesn't need any introduction, but my responsibility and duty to cite the brief work. As you know, Dr. Narendra Pratap Singh ji has more than 30 years of experience in agriculture, research, and management, with laudable contributions including strengthening and coordination of agricultural research, education, and extension activities. He obtained his PhD degree in genetics from Indian Agricultural Research Institute, New Delhi. Dr. N.P. Singh ji acquired advanced training in the early days of his career in the era of molecular biology and genetic transformation from some of the leading biotechnology laboratories like Bhava Atomic Research Center, Mumbai, National Chemical Laboratory, Pune, National Research Center Plant Biotechnology, New Delhi, ICRI SET, Hyderabad, and ICARDA, Syria. Sir also served as visiting scientist at Biotechnology Center, Bordeaux University, Perth, Australia, and at the Plant Biotechnology Institute, NRC, Canada. Being at the helm of affairs in R&D, 7 years as project coordinator in AICRP in Agworth, and 7 years at the director ICR Institute under R&D. His efforts resulted in development of state-of-art, world-class facilities of biotechnology at ICR, IAPR, Kanpur, and other instrumentation infrastructural setups following mobilization of funds from several national and international agencies. His significant contributions also include expansion of ICR Kanpur, IAPR Kanpur through opening of 4 regional centers in Bhopal, Bikaner, Dharwad, and Khordha, and opening of 1 more regional station in Himachal Pradesh is in the process. Institute scientific cadre strength revised to 100 from 77 during his tenure. Is highly acknowledged and noteworthy. Sir is a pioneer and integrated tools of biotechnology pulse research in India, as a result of which several international events BT gene have been developed in chickpea and pigeon pea, exhibiting high level of resistance to Helicobacter armigera. He has developed 63 pulse varieties, and first draft chickpea genome sequence is regarded as a landmark research in the history of pulse research in India. Sir developed marker-resistant breeding product Samriddhi for Pigeon Bill, IPCMS1 for drought-tolerant chickpea that has helped in improving our own popular mega varieties of chickpea. His efforts to reveal ICR India is one of the country's largest active working collection of germplasm. Sir has guided 5 PhD and 14 MSc students as a major guide, and 9 international and 15 national project handled. Served as the president of Indian Society of Pulse Research and Development from 2013 to 2020, and president of Indian Society of Pulse Legumes since 2020 till date. He is the member of ICR governing body since 2019, and also served as the visiting nominee of the Right Prasad Central Agriculture University, Pusa, Bihar, and Chancellor Governing Nominee of other university. Dr. N.P. Singh sir developed several ideas, concepts, and processes which are appreciated worldwide, and attracted funds for multi-career R&D activities, development of extra large seeded Kabuli chickpea varieties, which transform the country from net importer to net exporter of premium quality product, development of extra short duration, 50 to 55 days maturity, moon bean, which brought substantial area of moon bean under summer window in plant, wire fortified zinc and aluminum lentil variety IPL 20, 220 for nutritional security, and application of molybdenum in soybean chickpea system. Sir has published 166 research papers, 19 books, a third and 14 books, edited 15 international and 20 national scholarly presentation made in conferences, 17 international, and more than 55 national plenary lectures, invited talks, and many papers, research paper published in Nature Journal. And Biovid Merit Award, IAPR Bhasa Puruskar Award, Biovid Agri Innovation Award, International Coordinator, International Chickpea Genetics and Genomic Consortium, and BPV and FRA Recognition Award, Uttar Pradesh Agriculture Academy Lifetime Achieve Award, and ICR Agri Devilal Best ICRP Award, Sardar Patel Outstanding Award, ICR Institute Award, and ISPRD Gold Medal, Bionic Honorary Fellowship Award, and member of the Fellow of the National Academy of Agriculture Sciences, New Delhi, in a Society of Pulse Research and Development, Kanpur, in a Society of Agriculture Biochemistry, Kanpur. So this is a very brief research part, and very long. It cannot be concluded in very few minutes. So may I request Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. N.P. Singh sir, to preside over this, give a presidential address before the audience. Sir, please.
Thank you, Dr. Tomar, for very exhaustive, the introduction. It doesn't require at this particular forum. Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. YSR Horticulture University, Andhra Pradesh, my one of the best friend, Dr. T. Janki Ram, with whom I studied. I was in foundation course, and several years, we worked in ICR. And Dr. K.V. Prasad, Director, Indian Institute of Floriculture Research, again, one of the fellow director with whom, I served in ICR for a very long time. And all my directors and dean of different colleges and dear participants. Greetings from BOU to Banda. And, it is a new established university about 12 years back. And we are privileged to have, a College of Horticulture and a College of Forestry here in the campus. And under that, under the aegis of College of Horticulture, we have, Department of Floriculture and Landscaping. So it's a new setup I am working, and it's always good to be with the colorful people, who work with flowers and fruits and vegetables. And this is the workshop being organized by a very young team, and I congratulate, Dr. S.P. Dwivedi, Dean of the College, Dr. Ajay Singh, Head of the Department Floriculture and Landscaping, and Dr. Tomar, Organizing Secretary, that they are organizing this particular workshop. And I see very interesting, very interestingly, it is structured. And I also see, that a lot of very eminent people, they are going to share their views, on this particular occasion. I was delighted to listen to Dr. Janki Ramji and again, Dr. K.V. Prasad scenario that we have in floriculture in India, in the global. And I still remember with Dr. Prasad, I was in Netherlands, during that trip where we could see, the auction center, and I was making a lot of query to him that when this day will come when India will also have a very similar, modern auction center, in India. And I'm happy to know that at least a couple of centers have been established, one in Bengaluru and another, I was told, in Noida, in our own states, and they are growing very well. I was very happy to, note that India is making, very good progress in the floriculture industry. I was given a note by Dr. Tomar, but I don't feel that now it is required to be read by me, because already two stalwarts of floriculture, they have spoken. And anything that I will speak, it will be out of place, because throughout life I worked only in one community for 40 years and not much experience, other than I'm working here, in the university. But only thing I will tell that India has a, very vast potential because of our climatic conditions and different weather and seasons that we have. No other country is having. Dr. Prasad told that Southern Hemisphere is one of the production center, and the Northern Hemisphere is the, most developed country. They are the more of the consumption mode. So there is a good opportunity for India, to produce very good flowers and cut flowers, loose flowers, and that to, add value and export to those countries. Because in the country, if we have to really enhance the income of the farmers, we have to really increase the nutrition. We need money, and there is no other industry that serves, better than the floriculture. I see while our export is again increasing, particularly to the Western countries and in the Middle East, our import is also increasing. So that means that people are more and more in use of the flowers. Particularly, I see major flower production center is also located at major worship places, like I see, near Tirupati, I see near Varanasi and many other places. So what we need is perhaps to see that around these area we develop also, the very good market, because until or unless we develop a very good market and, places where, we develop a value chain, perhaps the people are not going to make best out of it. And I'm very happy that the today's the workshop is very well structured and it is going to cover a lot of things like themes like present status of Indian floriculture industry, post-harvest physiology of commercial flower, post-harvest handling of cut and loose flowers, storage, packaging, marketing, and again the its value addition apart from the extracting different essential oils and developing the dyes and many other things. So this is going to be a very interesting workshop, and I feel that the workshop on post-harvest management and value addition will provide a good forum to discuss very emerging issues in this particular industry and advances that has been made in the area of post-harvest management and value addition of ornamentals. And this workshop will bring really very significant contribution that has been made in the field post-harvest management advances, and this will be shared, with those who are participating in this. And I see a very good, amalgamation of the eminent academicians, scientists, entrepreneurs, scholars. They will share their view on this particular forum. Friends, I'm very grateful, to Dr. K.V. Prasad ji, director. I'm happy to see him after a long time. I think last 2 years we couldn't meet anywhere. And my old friend, Dr. Janaki Ram. I'm very grateful that though I was not having good health, for a last 3-4 weeks, I couldn't talk to them. But they acceded to our request and delivered, the wonderful lecture. Now it is a very good setting for this workshop, and I feel that these 2 days will be very interesting, very interactive, and very useful to the participants. So thank you very much, sir, both of you, that you acceded to our request, and I know that both of you are very busy, but still you could spare, for this new university, and my colleagues, particularly the Dean and Arab Division and Dr. Tomar and the entire team. I feel they will be able to rise to the expectation of the participants, and they will try to do their best. Thank you very much. Namaskar.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for giving a presidential address. Thank you so much, sir, for giving a presidential address before us, and your patronage will be continue for us to develop this in the College of Horticulture, Department of Floriculture. So under your vibrant leadership and dynamic leadership, definitely, sir, we will work, and your guidance is continued for us. So at the end of the program, may I call upon Dr. Ajay Kumar Singh ji, Head of the Department of Horticulture, for proposing a vote of thanks.
Good afternoon to everyone. We are here at the end of the inaugural session of 2 days virtual national workshop on post-harvest management and evaluation of ornament. I would like to present a vote of thanks on the behalf of Department of Floriculture and Landscape Architecture, Bandha Institute of Agriculture and Technology, Bandha, Uttar Pradesh. We take this opportunity to thanks to all who help in this very auspicious beginning. Firstly, we express our gratefulness to our chief guest, Dr. T. Janaki Ram sir, the Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. YSR Horticulture University, VR Kudam, Andhra Pradesh, who graced this occasion despite his busy schedule and delivered a very thought-provoking inaugural address on the post-harvest management and value addition of ornamental. I am very thankful to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. N.P. Singh sir, for his presidential address and kind motivational and guidance for conducting this 2 days virtual national workshop. Thank you, sir. Our sense of gratitude to Dr. K.B. Prasad sir, Director, Indian Institute of Floriculture Research, Pune, Maharashtra, and today's guest of honor for readily accepting our invitation and delivering very informative keynote address on the present status of Indian floriculture industry. We extend our sincere thanks to Dr. S.B. Trivedi, Dean, College of Horticulture, and the chairman of this workshop, Dr. S.K. Singh, Registrar, Dr. N.K. Bajpai, Director Extension, Dr. A.C. Mishra, Director Research, Dr. Mukul Kumar, Dean PGS, Dr. G.S. Pawar, Dean College of Agriculture, Dr. Sanjeev, Dean College of Forestry, Dr. Vandana Kumari, Associate Dean College of Community Science, all the head of the departments, teaching faculties, organizing secretary and committee members, dear students, and all the participants for their benign presence in this August inaugural session. Thank you once again. Over to Dr.
Thank you so much, sir, for proposing a vote of thanks. At the end of the program, I, on my personal behalf, express sincere gratitude to all the senior most stalwart people, Honorable Vice Chancellor Dr. N.P. Singh sir, Chief Guest Dr. T. Janki Ram sir, Dr. K.B. Prasad sir, for joining this program and addressing the audience, and all the organizing committee members, Chairman Dr. S.B. Trivedi ji, Head of the Department Dr. A.K. Singh ji, and senior most people of this university, Registrar sir, Dr. K. Bajpai ji, Director Extension, and all the deans of the constituent colleges and other members, and especially participants. So we have a participant from the different means sphere of people. So, sir, now I conclude this program. Thank you so much, sir, once again. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Singh Saab, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now, next session will start at 2 p.m. 2:20.